Welcome to the Zach Brown Show, the show that introduces you to old friends for the first time. I'm your host, Zach Brown. On this episode, I talk about the power of the idea and how it shapes our lives. We'll begin right after these messages. I love coffee. It's part of my morning routine. Without it, I just don't feel like myself. Allow me to introduce you to the official coffee of the Zach Brown Show. Located in Columbia, Tennessee, Oak Hill Farm Coffee Roasters offers a delicious variety of roasts and blends. Every bag of coffee you buy will help mission and humanitarian projects all around the world. What's better than a cup of coffee? A cup of coffee that helped make a difference. Oak Hill Farm Coffee Roasters. Wake up, drink coffee, and go do something great.
The vacation you've been waiting for is finally here. Make memories that last a lifetime. Cliché travel commercial statement. The ultimate escape is just a phone call away. Call 555-B-BAY for a free vacation guide.
All right.
Babambaboo Bay, a vacation like no other.
Something that I've been pondering for the last little while is something that I call the power of the idea. And it's this invisible force that impacts every single one of us. And the best example that I can think of is that smell of when you pull up to a restaurant. Like, let's say like a Texas Roadhouse or a Ruth's Chris. I know those are varying in, quality differences, but work with me here. When you pull up to a steak restaurant, you are met by this amazing fragrance. I mean, it just draws you in. The smell of the grill, the smell of the meat, you are primed. You start to salivate. You're ready. And then you sit in the restaurant, you order, and eventually you wait a while and, they bring you your meal and you cut into this perfectly grilled, medium rare steak. And there it is. And you take your first bite and it's delicious, but it's not what you thought it was going to be. Like, the taste never quite matches what you built up in your mind based on the smell and everything leading up to this moment. It's just kind of this amazing thing. And I think that so many things in our lives are similar. So like the power of the idea of ourselves. Like, I know what I think about myself, but there's no possible way for me to completely understand how anybody else in my world views me, how they, what they think about me, how they perceive me, like my character in their movie called life. And I can't let those things dictate how I interact with people, like what I may think they think about me. And I can't project the way that I feel about myself onto others. We all have, these insecurities or even the things that we feel really good about, but we can't superimpose those into the minds of the people around us, whether they be friends or perfect strangers. And I'm not talking about Cousin Larry and Balky. I hope you got that reference. Anyway, the skill or talent that you have, maybe you don't see it as something grand or worthy of sharing. But to somebody else, you have something that they truly enjoy. And, just a moment of vulnerability is my singing voice. I, for the last however long, have been performing or singing on stages at least once or twice a week. And this is something that I really enjoy doing. I feel very connected to musical performance, whether that be, playing rock and roll in a club, which I've had very limited, experience with, or most often than not leading worship in a Christian church venue. But when I was 10 years old, a girl named Lauren told me that my singing voice sounded like a little kid. Now, duh. On this side of history, I'm going, well, of course you sound like a little kid. You were a little kid. But to me, it was this derogatory comment about my talent or my ability to sing or the quality of my voice. And, 20 plus years later, I still carry those words with me onto every single stage. I wrestle with this idea of I don't have a very good singing voice. And this is not a toot my own horn moment. I really try not to do that. But I've had a number of people tell me how much they enjoy my singing or the quality of my voice or the particular flavor that I bring that other people on my team doesn't. And of course, that's so lovely and encouraging and just fills my proverbial cup. But I still wrestle with the idea of myself, and the power of that idea that I'm not good enough sometimes is so much louder than what actually is. And it's, I know that there's something in your life that and it could be more than one thing, that you deal with, that you may have a talent or a gift or something that you enjoy that someone, maybe not even trying to be mean or flippant, just said something that wasn't life-giving. And that probably impacts the way that you view yourself. And so, I challenge you to try to move past that as I do every single time I step on stage. We can get through this. There's also the power of the idea that we don't have about ourselves, but we have about other people. And we let oftentimes fear rule our decisions. What if they don't like me? What if we don't have anything in common? What if they think the things that I enjoy are stupid? Just forget that, honestly. Like, that person, what if they're your future best friend and you're just missing out because of a hypothetical? Like, the power of the idea is not only something that keeps us from good experiences, it can also be something that keeps us from moving away from toxic situations. Again, the idea of other people, what we place on them. Say you're dating someone and you're in this relationship, and most of the time you disagree and you don't have much harmony in this relationship. But it's that one amazing night out that keeps you in this relationship. Statistically, if that's your situation, you are always going to be losing. Oh, but we had that one time and it was amazing. And what if this is who they really are deep down inside? If I just keep pouring into this relationship, they'll come around eventually. They'll come around. Like, it'll turn. Stop. My goodness, that is the dangerous power of the idea. You cannot let the one amazing thing outweigh the 9 that was terrible. You are worth so much more. We are now basing all of our decisions in this relationship on the idea of who they could be rather than who they actually are. And we can break free of these relationships. And that's incredibly liberating, honestly. But if we're not careful, the memories of a good time might cause you to return to a not so great relationship. I'm not saying these are like physically abusive, but maybe they are. And I just hope that you stick to your guns and trust your gut in these situations. Memories are a powerful thing that can jar those emotions and stimulate our mind and our brains, our gut in a number of ways. But memories are a kind of a wild thing, and that's something that I'd like to talk about for a second. They're really powerful forces, memories are. They have either incredibly positive or negative impacts on us. It's the fun memories of vacation that make us save up and go back to the same places time and time again. I mean, we see that with Walt Disney World. People who grew up going and having a great time, then they grow up and they have families and then they have children and so on and so on. And it's, it's the multiplying return factor and it's beautiful, but it's the memories that is the impetus of those decisions. So, we tell the funny stories, we watch home movies, we look at pictures, all the good stuff. We choose not to remember the long lines, how hot we were, the kids screaming, or the guy in line with BO. We formulate these perfect scenarios in our mind with these memories, and then when we do everything we can to recreate the experience from those memories, it always falls short. Like, honestly, instead of creating new memories and trying new restaurants or the order of operations that we did on the previous trip, we end up just kind of less than satisfied. I've heard it said that every time you revisit a memory, you just kind of alter it a bit, which is honestly terrifying. And the reality has now become taken over by the power of the idea, and it becomes something other than what it really was. I have family members who have heard secondhand stories so many times that I've now heard them tell the story, and somehow now they are part of the story. And they genuinely believe that they were there when they in fact weren't. But again, the power of the idea stirring the memory just creates this whole new existence, and it's not real. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. It's just dangerous. And I just want us to be, aware. Again, the power of the idea. And I know for myself, there are things in life that I thought would have happened by now. It's so easy to get caught up in the comparison trap. And, you see somebody and they have something that you want. And so we formulate in our mind naturally that they're happier, or maybe we think that they're better off than we are. Social media has done this incredible job. I mean, absolutely astounding way of rewiring our brains and making us believe that the people we see in those little 4x5 pictures are perfectly happy at all times. What we don't see is the 25 minutes that it took to get the picture just right, all the filters that they've slapped on that thing, that their kid maybe had a meltdown as they were leaving the house, or that the car they just purchased was beyond what they could really afford in this moment. I'm not saying everybody's miserable or living beyond their means in social media. I'm just saying that it's so easy for us to look over reality and only see the snapshot of perfection. We all have our struggles. And if we were to take a poll, there's probably something that each of us have that someone else would give their back teeth to have for themselves. It's just about perspective. Perspective is power. I say that all the time. And we can't let ourselves be ruled by the power of the idea, #power of the idea, that just because someone else has this thing that we want, that we're not doing okay, that we're not progressing in life in the way that we should. We are all in this journey together, yet separately. We're moving through life and we're experiencing things in a way that is perfectly designed for each and every one of us. We've all had hopes and dreams and desires and shortcomings and, dreams that didn't happen. And maybe they just haven't happened yet. I can tell you that there's so many things in life that I have hoped for that if they would have come about in the time that I had wanted them, I would have truly missed out on other experiences. Or if I had gotten the things that I wanted when I wanted them, they wouldn't have been as special. They wouldn't have had been as bigger of a reward because I wouldn't have had these other things. And sometimes that's exactly what we need. We sit back and we want the house, we want the car, we want the relationship, we want the family, whatever it is. We have to just trust that just because someone else has the thing that we want right now doesn't mean that they're happy and we're not. We have to stop living in extremes. Honestly, the power of the idea that I think too many times we're looking for the extremes, whether it's the day is not amazing, it's just good. Well, that's not bad. How's your day? Fine. Well, it's not bad, so good. We have to stop convincing ourselves through the power of the idea that this other thing is going to make everything okay. We have to get past that. And it's something that I have not perfected and I am daily working on, laying down the perfection, laying down the ideal, and just knowing that this is all right. We're moving forward. We're growing, And something else that I think we can all relate to is how the power of the idea causes us to delay taking on tasks. How many times do you have a to-do list of a household chore or a personal task and you just don't want to do it? Honestly, 9 out of 10 times, the idea of doing the thing is way worse than doing the actual thing. I find myself all the time saying out loud, well, I didn't take this nearly as long as I thought it would. And then I'm on with the rest of my day. But there's always those things. It's move past the hard math problem and just take the easy ones and kind of come back to it later. But then we just keep pushing it down and not getting on with being productive and being accomplished. I mean, the amount of things that I could be doing, if I would have just completed the one and moved on, I'm scared to know what that number of things are that I could be doing in my day. I could have gotten so much more accomplished if I just pushed through the idea of doing the task. The same frame of mindset is what keeps us from pursuing dreams. We think it's going to be so much work. It's not going to be worth the payoff. It's all these things that just keeps us from chasing our dreams. Start the podcast, form the business, adopt the baby, whatever you need to do. Like, don't let the idea of the thing scare you. You can do this. You can move across country. You can leave this job that you hate and start again. It's okay. Sometimes it's just as simple as, I'm going to learn a new language. Duolingo, check it out. It's free. Not sponsored. I'm just saying there are things that we can all do to achieve our dream if we just get past the idea that it's going to be work. I promise you, once you get started, you're going to realize this is not as bad as I thought. Yeah, it's going to be work. Most likely, but it's not going to be as difficult as you worked it up in your mind. So stop giving power to the idea. Just get out there and do the thing. I don't know what that is for you, but I hope that as we've been sitting here and I've been talking and you've been listening as you've, been driving to work or cleaning your house or walking your dog, whatever, that while we've been sitting here for these few minutes, that the thing that you've been putting off, that you no longer give power to the idea that it's too hard or that it's going to take so much work, that you take a step today to go after that thing. Again, start the business, launch the Etsy shop, take that vacation, move cross country, do the crazy thing. I'm here for it. I'm rooting for you. And if there's anything I could do to encourage or help you, drop me a line, send me a DM on the Instagram or the Facebooks. I'm here for it. Anyway, I hope this has been not just ramblings of some guy sitting in his studio, but something that encouraged you today. And maybe it encourages someone that you know. So pass it along. Anyway, as one wise Canadian once said, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. Keep your stick on the ice. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I know it was a little different from most of the episodes, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please tell a friend. And if you take just a moment to leave a 5-star review on your favorite streaming platform, you can also share this or any of our other episodes with a friend. The Zach Brown Show is produced by me, Zach Brown, and Corey Jess. It's part of the Zach Brown Network. Our album art is made by Luis Lopez. Our outro music is Nurse by Corey Jess. You can follow him on Instagram at corey.jess.productions. You can also follow the show on Facebook or Instagram at The Zach Brown Show.